Tim, are you good? You guys good? I'd like to call to order the regular board meeting of the Miamisburg City Schools dated January 20th, 2022. May we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. May I have roll call, please?
Mr. Amsler,
Here.
Mr. Daffler,
Here.
Mr. Lewis, Mrs. Neese, Mr. Toadvine.
Next on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda. May I have a motion to adopt tonight's agenda?
I move to adopt the agenda for January 20th, 2022.
Motion by Mrs. Neese,
I second.
seconded by Mr. Daffler. Any questions or comments in regards to tonight's agenda? Hearing none, may I have a roll call?
Mr. Daffler,
Here. Yes.
Mr. Amsler,
Yes.
Mrs. Neese.
Yes.
Next on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. Approval of minutes for the regular board meeting held on December 16th, 2021, and the organizational board meeting held on December 6th. May I have a motion for that as well?
I move for the approval of the minutes of January 2022 board agenda.
No, those are actually, this is for December 16th
Oh, December 16th
and January 6th.
and January 6th.
Motion by Mr. Daffler and seconded by myself.
Okay.
Any questions or comments in regards to those two meetings? Hearing none, may I have a roll call?
Mrs. Neese,
Yes.
Mr. Amsler,
Yes.
Mr. Daffler.
Yes.
Next on the agenda is approval of the financial report. Approval of the financial report dated December 31st, 2021. May I have a motion for this as well?
I move for the approval of the financial report dated December 31st, 2021.
Motion by Mrs. Neese. And
I second.
Seconded by Mr. Daffler. Mr. Espy.
Just wanted to point out that there's that we're trending as expected for both revenues and expenditures. We are going to be hopefully catching up with some of the revenues from the county auditor that we have to request advances for. Dr. Blessing and I have a meeting with the county auditor coming up here in February, so we're going to be kind of discussing that process and whatnot. I did want to point out a couple things. We're going to talk about the potential bond refinancing after your approval, potential approval later this evening, and also a municipal advisor. But I did want to point out that we are going to have, more than likely by the February meeting, we'll be live on online Checkbook. I have a meeting on Monday to finalize that. So anyone in the community can go out to Ohio Checkbook online and be able to see any of the expenditures of the school district. I did want to also add that I plan on adding a dashboard report to the front of all of the financial reports going forward. It'll be like a really quick recap of all the reports that are contained inside the financial report. And I plan to do that in February.
Okay. Any other questions, comments, or concerns?
I like that we can already see, like, how you have the documents with the expenditures and, who was paid out.
Mhm.
That's kind of going to be like the Ohio checkbook, right? Except
Yeah, so
for,
the Ohio checkbook is you'll be able to see back back through 2016. So 2016, January 1st, 2016 forward. So you'll be able to see it by fiscal years. You can sort it by vendor. You can sort it by code. You can pull the information down to Excel. You can do all kinds of cool things with it. So basically what I'm providing you is a monthly report of expenditures. You'll be able to go and see a year's worth or multiple years' worth.
May I have roll call for that, please?
Mr. Amsler,
Yes.
Mr. Daffler,
Yes.
Mrs. Neese.
yes.
Next on the agenda is recognition of citizens, staff, and students. And first on tonight's docket is District December 2021 Student of the Month, Miss Mia Weinberg, from the Mvctc Middle School. So if she would like to come down, and you'll be right up in front of me, and Miss Neese will read everything.
The Mvctc District December Student of the Month is Mia Weinberg. She was nominated by Mvctc Middle School Team 3 teachers and Counselor Monique Hobbs. They said, "Congratulations to Mia Weinberg on being selected as the December Student of the Month for Mvctc Middle School. Mia goes above and beyond in demonstrating our PBIS values of respect, responsibility, and safety. Mia's teachers describe her as an outstanding young lady who lives her life in and out of the classroom with character and honor. They have personally seen how caring Mia is with her family. She is kind and helpful to her parents and her brother. Mia goes out of her way to help fellow students and teachers as well. She enjoys being involved with several school and community groups. She is a member of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, Muse Machine, Student Council, and Choir. Outside of school, Mia plays soccer for Metro FC, select basketball for Miamisburg, and belongs to the Southbrook Church Student Group. Due to her many interests and busy schedule, she has learned how to manage her time effectively to earn excellent grades. Mia's schoolwork is a priority for her, and she always completes her assignments before other activities. She may even put a creative spin on a school project assignment. She wrote a script and involved the whole family in a skit for an assignment about states of matter. You want to come do that tonight? I would love that. Liquids, solids, and gases, yeah. Mia comes from a family of educators, so it is no surprise that she has aspirations of becoming a social studies teacher. She fell in love with the subject in elementary school when she was learning about geography and history. Congratulations, Mia.
So you're a Mound alumni, is that it? Here's a medallion from the Board of Education. And I know that Sean Myers at Farmers Merchants Bank presented her plaque and her silver dollar last week, right? And she did this great job. If you look on Instagram, she did this great job. I'll check.
Oh, I saw it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Who did you bring along
Yeah.
with you this evening, Mia? My mom, my dad. What grade is your brother in? Is he a gopher? Well, if you guys want to come up and get a picture, we can do a picture of the whole family too.
Yeah, she's got it, yeah.
me get out of the way.
All right, and then the other building students of the month representatives include from Bauer Elementary School, Willa Vican, Bear Elementary School, Declan Shipley, Jance Chase Elementary School, Jace Such, Kinder Elementary School, Weston Beaver, Mark Twain Elementary School, Nash Pyle, Medler View, Laylee Johnson, Mound, Robbie Anders, and Miamisburg High School, Carson Miller. Congratulations.
Next on the agenda is the Mound Elementary School presentation, Go for Great Expectations. So if I can have Ms. Keller and Ms. Andricks come up.
Yes. Hi. I'm Diana Keller, and I'm honored to be the principal at Mound Elementary this year. And we appreciate the opportunity each month for a different school to kind of share with you a little bit of something special about our buildings. And so we wanted to share with you, got a little preview there a minute ago with Mia, but we wanted to share with you a little bit about our PBIS program. And so PBIS is Positive Behavior Interventions and Support. I see your heads nodding, you're familiar with that. And kind of it's a framework, and the main focus of PBIS is really to recognize positive behaviors, so noticing them and then recognizing those behaviors. And so I am grateful that I am kind of stepping on the shoulders here of Mrs. Huber, who did a wonderful job, the previous principal at Mound. And so I really can't take any credit for what you're about to learn about, because Mrs. Huber and the team at Mound worked hard to put this into place. So there's lots of components with PBIS, but this is just kind of one piece that we wanted to highlight for you. So at Mound, we have 3 expectations, and we just recently taught the students a little bit of sign language with it. So if you'll indulge me for just a minute, at Mound Elementary, I'll be respectful to myself, others, and my environment, responsible for the choices I make, and ready to learn. And so out of each of those expectations, there's specific characteristics for each one. And if a student is noticed showing those expectations, then they receive what's up here on the screen, a Go for Great. And so you could be noticed for a variety of reasons. And then when you receive a ticket, then you are welcome to come down to the office, and then you get celebrated. As some students are here, we have anybody who's in the vicinity, and a staff member, the mail carrier, anybody that we have, other students, we celebrate together those students that are being recognized for show and Go for Great behavior. And then they get to feed the gopher. One of our creative parents put together, again, back when Mrs. Huber was principal, made that mailbox a gopher, and the kids love to feed the gopher. So they stick their tickets in there, and then the next morning those are read on our school announcement so that their name is being read in front of everyone. And we also, this is something we started this year, doing class Go for Great. So our support staff, so our specials teachers, or our intervention specialist, or myself, or our custodians, we have encouraged giving class Go for Great. So for example, the custodian goes in to clean in the evening and notices that the room is already pretty well picked up. That custodian might say, hey, I really appreciate the way you are making your class easier for me to clean at night. And then we draw names out of a raffle, and then classes receive a reward recess. So this is a group that I took out today. They have a reward recess with me for about 20 minutes. We bundled up and we bared through the cold today. So we wanted to we know that this is School Board Appreciation Month, and we certainly know that our school board and our central office team has been put through lots of challenges anytime, but most particular this year. And so it's one thing to like tell you about it, but it's another thing to experience it. And so the truth is, no one can do this like Mrs. Andrix, or I'm sure Mrs. Huber too. So since I've stepped in, this is what happens. Might be what it's like in the office. A kid comes in, they've got to go for great. Mrs. Andrix is on the phone. She's helping a parent. She's taking somebody's temperature. That's just like an easy day when she's doing those three things at once. And they're like, well, can I wait for Mrs. Andrix? Because they want her to do the celebration. I'm like, it's all right. Like, they don't want to hurt my feelings. But you are in for a treat because Mrs. Andrix, we have some go for greats. Mr. Amsler,
Yes.
one for you. Thank you for your service.
Sure.
Please. One for you. Thank you.
Thanks.
There you go. Thank you, thank you. I think you participated with our Silver Grants in the building.
I think I saw it once, yeah.
There's two people, two of our board members. Dr. Leslie.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Mound. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mrs. Keller, we have one for you as well.
Nobody told me this was a show and tell one.
You do get a little sticker. Yes, I have a sticker. Okay, yes, that's the other thing at the end. Everybody gets a sticker to wear. It says, ask me about my vote for great. So that when you get home, your spouse, significant other, children, they can ask you what you did to show go for great behavior.
Thank you.
Most welcome. It's still not over, okay?
Okay, and then I need to collect them. I'm sorry it takes so long. Because you're coming down to the office.
So now pretend you're coming to the office
Okay.
with your go for great.
This is a simulation.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
This is way better than the I feel guilty. I didn't know I was getting one, but okay. There you go. We've got the gopher.
Thank you. And then are you ready?
This is what I do. I just stand by and look nice.
Sam, please turn it on your back. Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. Let it be known that Mrs. Sunderman, Mrs. Huber, Mrs. Keller, and Mr. Daffler, Mrs. Neese, Mr. Emsler, Mr. Epstein, nice to meet you by the way, Dr. Blessing, and Mr. Roman show. Go for great behind drop. By demonstrating leadership, showing kindness. You ready? Go for great, no bill, and woo! And then you make your ticket back, and I say, feed me, I'm hungry for that go for great.
That is exactly what she says every time. Every time. The kids feed the gopher. So,
And then you love it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. That's great.
all right. Thank you. And who would know the Mound Bar? Grandpa Joe's, right? Good. I don't know if anybody knows
been to
that.
Mound Bar in years.
They got great.
Thank you. Wow.
Awesome.
There you
Thank
go.
you.
Absolutely.
Wow. Thank you. We got some up here too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. That was fun. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's all
those coming up may have a hard time beating that one. So. Next on the agenda is School Board Recognition Month. All students in the Myers-Briggs City School District benefit every day from the dedication and commitment to a quality education by our school board members. The hours and energy devoted to making this district a great place to learn do not go unnoticed. In sincere appreciate the explanatory leadership and service to public schools. These certificates are presented to Christopher Amsler, Corey Daffler, Tim Lewis, and Niece, which you will be receiving a gravel, and Dale Toadvine. So, thank you for your service,
Right.
Miss Niece.
On behalf of the Mvctc City Schools Administration and staff, we want to present you with your gavel for being president during the 21-22 school year. So we, as Diana mentioned, it's been a very difficult time in education, and we appreciate your leadership as board president. So thank you. Very cool. And then this doesn't mean that she can't be board president again in the future, right?
Right.
Okay, just so you know.
I tried to keep her there, but she wouldn't go. Next is the recognition of National School Counseling Week. It is recommended that the board recognize National School Counseling Week. School counseling, Better Together, will be celebrated from February 7th to February 11th, 2022, to focus public attention on unique contribution to professional school counselors within United States school systems. The Board of Education further recognizes that comprehensive development school counseling programs are considered an integral part of the Myers-Briggs City School educational process. Next is board discussion, and we have technology supervisor Andy Clabber. So if he would like to come up.
I'm just going to say right now, I'm going to fall well short of the bar that was set by Mound Elementary. The excitement there is, I was in the office one time when Dee Dee did that, and I didn't know she was going to do it, and I about had a heart attack. So I just want to say briefly, I've only been here 5 months. I just started here, and I am just blown away by the leadership that we have here, the staff and the teachers, and I'm getting to know that students are really special here too. This is a very special place, and I'm excited to be here and be part of it. I'm especially grateful for the tech team that I get to work with each and every day. They are an exceptional group of people, and they have laid a fantastic foundation for all the things that we're going to be talking about tonight. And the first item is the one-to-one. This is the first full year for the one-to-one, and we are one-to-one at all elementary schools. Student Chromebooks are kept in carts in the classrooms, and the students use those throughout the day. At the middle school, students pay a $25 per year fee to use the district-owned Chromebooks. Students take those Chromebooks back and forth from home to school, and this year, the plan is for 6th and 7th graders to keep theirs through the summer. 8th graders will turn theirs in at the end of the year. The one-to-one at the high school, students pay a $50 per year technology fee to use the district-owned Chromebooks. Students also take their Chromebooks back and forth from home, and they will keep their Chromebook until the end of their senior year. Current 12th grade students will have the option to pay a $200 fee to buy the device at the end of the school year, and then 9th through 11th graders will be keeping their Chromebooks over the summer. Currently, we have 4,433 Chromebooks signed out to students and staff. That may seem low compared to the student enrollment numbers, but that I don't think that you guys hand out Chromebooks to your students that are in JVS programs, correct? So that I think that probably accounts for it. And the students are allowed to bring their own devices as well, so that could account for that. Google provides a transformation report that you can get data from to see how much they're using the individual programs or apps within the Google atmosphere. And from the last 12 weeks of last year compared to the first 12 weeks of this year, the use of all of those apps are up about 14%. So that we're gaining traction with our one-to-one program. Also this year, we established Chromebook repair fees. That's on a supplemental page to the report that I submitted to you, and where we've defined the processes and the fees and everything. And I just want to say that the Media Center specialists and the secretaries have taken on a lot of extra responsibilities to help keep that part of the one-to-one rolling, and we definitely could not do that without their hard work and dedication. So a big shout out to them. One of the things that we did this fall, on October 26th, we pretty much doubled our bandwidth speed. Our connection to the internet is now full 2 gigabytes. We have a connection between the high school and middle school, which is 1 gigabyte. In the middle school, if you're not familiar, they kind of operate as the center point of the network. So the internet comes in there and then is distributed out to the rest of the district through the middle school. And all of our all the other elementary buildings and auxiliary buildings have a 500 megabyte connection now. So we are pretty future-proof for a little while on our bandwidth speeds. Planned summer projects for this year, we have a lot going on actually. We're doing projector upgrades at Mound Elementary, Mark Twain Elementary, and the high school. And this will complete a cycle of rotation that we've done to upgrade all the projectors in all of the buildings. So this will kind of mark the end of that cycle for a little while before we have to start up again in a couple years. We're also going to be doing a PC upgrade at Jane Chance. Every year, the technology department has been very methodical about upgrading the computers in all of the buildings. This turn, it's for Jane Chance. One of the things that's different maybe than previous years is with the one-to-one, we're finding that the need for computer labs is probably not as great. And so there's, we're looking at maybe doing some more stuff with STEM and STEAM type activities in those spaces. So to get our kids some exposure to robotics and programming and coding and that kind of thing. And we also take advantage of E-rate money. E-rate is a program that the federal government has so that they help us offset costs for maintaining our infrastructure. We will this summer be doing network switch upgrades at Bauer and Mound, and all of the elementary schools, every classroom will have a wireless access point at the end of the summer. So we are going to be pretty well set on our network. Things have been updated every year. Again, the tech department, before I even got here, has done a great job of providing a foundation for this whole one-to-one program, and the network is a key piece in that. Actually, it's a key piece in everything we do, honestly. So, Laura has included me on the strategic plan process, and I'm on the collaboration, communication, and decision-making subcommittee. And we are working on ways to better communicate to our staff, students, and community. Some of the things that we're evaluating are how to better disseminate and organize our information, ways to communicate better, either through our notification system. Mr. Homan is exploring other avenues to see if maybe there's a better system to push out our mass notifications. We're going to look at our website, and we're going to also look at utilizing features on our phone system to maybe help us be more efficient in how we direct our calls and that kind of thing. One of the last things here on my report here is technology replacement cycles and planning. Dr. Blessing secured a grant for 1,700 Chromebooks, which is going to allow us to replace the part of our Chromebook fleet, approximately 1,500 devices, that will not be able to auto-update after June of 2022. So that's a big deal. Our entire fleet will be kind of assured that they'll be able to get auto-updates for quite a while. However, this doesn't mean that we don't have to stay in a cycle of replacement. One of the key pieces of what the tech department has established is methodical and well thought out cycles of replacement for all the major components, and the Chromebooks are going to be another cycle that we will have to consider, because Chromebooks will eventually go out of auto update, and when they go out of auto update, that means that features that they're used to using don't work as well. Testing apps in particular will not work. The state testing apps will not work. So even though we're well set right now, we have to start thinking about getting into a cycle sooner rather than later of replacing those Chromebooks. So I just wanted to put that out on the horizon there. And like I said, the tech department has done just a fantastic job of just getting us into, before I even got here, they have done a fantastic job of keeping on top of all these major upgrades, and I can't sing their praises enough. Projects that we will be working on, I don't know if you know what multi-factor authentication is, but we're going to be requiring that for all our staff. That just is another layer of security for all of our Google accounts. One of the things that we've been focusing on, and I work with our tech coaches, and we meet regularly every month. We just met tonight. We're going to be focusing on highlighting the tools and resources that are available to us and encouraging the use of those and integration of those tools in our classrooms. So that's going to be our push for the tech coaches. And then another item that I have on here is, and this is something I see as maybe needing to happen, but we'll develop a way of working this in as PD for our support staff, for our secretaries, cafeteria workers, bus drivers, and custodians. Technology touches every part of the operation, and everybody's expected to have some familiarity with them. And we need to make sure that not only our students and teachers and administrators are well versed, but that our complete support staff is as well. So that is the report. If you have any questions.
I had a question on the robotics part of it. I mean, with the computer labs, not being utilized, maybe not as much, but on the robotics, is that, because I know we have Moto Man in our backyard in the Austin Landing, is that something that we would look at as business-wise, to look at them coming in or getting ideas, or?
We certainly can look at partnerships in the community. One of the things that we start off in the elementary schools is that they have smaller robots that that are a lot easier to program. So in the elementary space, doing stuff to get them familiar with it. As they move on, looking for partnerships like that. I didn't even know Moto Man was. Are they a robotics manufacturer?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yeah, I definitely think we should seek out opportunities to partner with them to see what, maybe they have some ideas of what direction we can go with all of that.
Okay. That's something I could probably get with you. I know a few individuals down there doing my inspections that I can probably start steering you in the right direction because I know they do a lot of training stuff down there, and then I think they do some outreach as well.
Great.
So, okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Andy. Next is the consent agenda. On the consent agenda, I will go through the whole agenda, A through G golf, and then we will go back individually and discuss those. So on the consent agenda, A is approval for overnight and extended student trips. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the overnight extended student trips. This is the Miamisburg High School Winds Regional Competition and the high school varsity competition and game day cheer teams, along with the Miamisburg High School Spanish student trip. B is the out-of-state travel. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the out-of-state travel, which is, again, the high school Winds Regional Competition, which will be held in Indiana, and the Miamisburg High School Spanish student trip, which will not only be held out of the state, but out of the country, as in Spain. So Approval of, C is the approval of the 2022 early graduates from the Myamisburg High School. The recommended is Michael Black, principal at Myamisburg High School, as recommended Dylan Bailey, Jeremiah Banks, Brandon Cochran, Caitlin Hickey, Genevieve Jablonski, Devin Siebert, Misty Sturgill for early graduation pending satisfactory completion of all state and local requirements. D is the approval of the Myamisburg Middle School World Language Exploratory courses. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the Myamisburg Middle School World Language Exploratory course. E, approval recognition of organization and club. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the following organizations or clubs. Cultivating Community Club. F, the approval of the Myamisburg High School Program of Studies and fee structure. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the Viking Voyage, Myamisburg High School's Program of Studies and fee structure for the 2022-23 school year. And finally, G is approval of consent items A alpha through F Frank. So can I have a motion for all those items, please?
I move for the approval of the consent of items A through F.
I second it.
Motion by Mr. Daffler and second by Mrs. Neese. Now we can go back to the beginning. Any questions, comments, or discussion in regards to the overnight extended trips or the out-of-state travel? First off. Next is the approval of the class of 2022 graduates, and I don't think that's anything that we haven't done continuously. D, the middle school world language exploratory course. If anybody want to, Amy, you want to, I know Stacy's not here. Do you want to go over that at all? Or you can?
I can, yes. I think they are looking at having the students take kind of a blend of both German and Spanish, right? French, not German, sorry. And the students would just rotate through and just have an introductory course. So instead of it just being one foreign language, they're going to get exposure to multiple. It won't affect our teaching staff. Their current teachers are going to be able to do that, so because they're licensed in both.
Next would be the approval of the recognition of the organizational club.
Sure,
Cultivating.
Yeah, Mrs. Moore and I met with Noel about this club, and it's the C Cube Club, and basically just kind of more of a arts focus where they could take some shared spaces within the high school and just make them more student focused with student art or murals or other things that the students design just to make their high school feel like home, like just to take ownership and pride in it. So it sounds exciting.
And last is the school program of studies and fee structure.
Yep, same as what we do every year
Yeah.
at this time, because the counselors are getting ready to start scheduling our students for the 22-23 school year.
Correct. Any questions or comments in regards to any of those items?
No, I just think that club is really cool. Yeah, that's exciting.
Hearing none, may I have a roll call?
Mrs. Neese,
Yes.
Mr. Daffler,
Yes.
Mr. Amsler.
Yes. Next, we have Human Resources agenda items, and again, these items will be read simultaneously and then discussed on the back half. A is the approval of personnel reports certificated and classified. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the following personnel reports. Employment within the City of Myamisburg School District is contingent upon the candidate submitting to and passing a BCI and FBI criminal record check in accordance with the Ohio Revised Code and pre-employment drug screening in accordance with the adopted board policies. B is the approval of personnel report, certificated, classified, supplemental, and stipend. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the following personnel report, certificated, classified, supplemental, and stipend. Again, employment is the same as it was before, contingent upon the candidate submitting to and passing a BCII, FBI criminal record check in accordance with the Ohio Revised Code, pre-employment drug screening in accordance with the adopted board policy. C is the approval of human resources items A Alpha and B Bravo. So it is recommended that the Board of Education approve the human resources A and B. And I will go ahead and make that a motion that we approve that.
I second it.
Motion by Mr. Amsler and second by Mrs. Neese. Mr. Homan.
Nothing out of the ordinary. Business as usual.
Corey, you have anything on that? No. Hearing none, may I have a roll call?
Mr. Amsler,
Yes.
Mrs. Neese,
Yes.
Mr. Daffler.
Yes.
Next is the agreements and contracts. Again, we have multiple items on this section as well. A is the approval agreement with the South Community Mental Health Services. Superintendent recommends approval of the Employee Assistance Program, EAP Plus, agreement with South Community to provide mental health services effective January 21st, 2022 through January 21st, 2023. B is the approval agreement with Senior Assistance Incorporated. It is recommended by the Superintendent and Director of Student Services to enter into an agreement with Senior Assistance for student transportation to the Wellness Center in Mason, Ohio. C is the approval agreement with Tackett Environmental Services. It is recommended by the Superintendent and Assistant Superintendent of Business and Human Resources that the Board of Education approve the attached proposals from Tackett Environmental Services for professional services at Mark Twain and Mound Elementary Schools for the abatement and disposal of chalkboard mastics, and from Bauer Elementary School for the abatement and disposal of windows for a total of $11,040. D is the approval authorizing and revision of contract amount for purchases of school vans. It is recommended by the Superintendent and Director of Business that the Board of Education approve the revision of the contract purchases amount for 2 Ford Transit 350 vans with wheelchair lifts from Mobility Works, December 1st, 2021 board meeting. The total amount has been revised to $123,602.32. This is due to 21 models no longer available, having to purchase 22 models. E is the approval agreement with the Warren County Educational Service Center. The Superintendent and Treasurer CFO recommends approval of the attached agreement with the Warren County Educational Service Center for student services at the Warren County Educational Service Center. F is the approval of memorandum of understanding with Sinclair Community College. It is recommended by the Superintendent and Director of Secondary Curriculum to enter into an agreement with Sinclair Community College. We're getting there. G is the approval of the 2022 Ohio School Board Association membership and publication subscription. Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Miamisburg City School hereby renews its membership with the Ohio School Boards Association for 2022 at a cost of $8,174, annual membership and renews annual subscription to Briefcase and the School Management News in the amount of $150. H is the approval agreement with the Montgomery County Educational Service Center. It is the recommendation of the superintendent, treasurer, CFO, and the board to approve an agreement with the Montgomery County Educational Service Center to provide a social emotional learning consultant beginning July 1st, 2021 and ending June 30th, 2022. Services will be provided and billed on the 21-22 school year. I is the approval agreement with Forest Edge Incorporated. It is recommended of the superintendent, treasurer, CFO, the board to approve an agreement with Forward Edge Incorporated for Jane Chance Elementary School technology upgrade. J is the approval agreement between contracts A Alpha and I Igloo. May I have a motion for, or is recommended? Yeah, I already did that. May I have a motion?
Yeah, I move to approve the agreements and contract items A through I.
First by Mrs. Neese,
I second.
second by Mr. Daffler. All right. Where do we want to begin?
I can start this since I seem to have the most, so.
I will let you.
All right. The South Community, we provide services through an employee assistance program. We've been South Community for a number of years. We also offer EAP services through the EPC, or Educational Purchasing Council. South Community has been a very good business partner with us. They've really kept the rates at a pretty good rate over the years, and several of our employees have good relationships with the counselors there. So we want to make sure we continue those services to be beneficial to our employees with them. Senior assistants, I am happy to announce that we have several new bus drivers that have passed their CDL, and they've already have routes. It used to be that you had to wait sub for many years to get a route, but all the ones that have passed now have routes. We're still short, so that's why we have to use this company, but it's for assistance to transport a student. Tackett Environmental Services, we're doing those projector projects and the Bower Window project, and in order, after they do the abatement, we have to have the certifications and the air quality testing done, and Tackett Services is the one that will provide us with that services and the release for those. The school vans, if you remember, we had that on the December board agenda, but just like everything else, someone beat us to the punch before the next day. We got it in after the board meeting, so it's a couple $1,000s more. Still a great deal, but I wanted to put that on here just because we are using ESSER money for that, and I just want to make sure that we have a nice clean trail to show that everything's been approved. I think that's all of mine.
All right, so for mine, I think I start on E, right? Sorry. Yep. So E, Warren County Educational Service Center, we have a contract with them every year for student services for specialized programming. We've got an additional student who moved into the district already placed in the program, so that is an approval of an additional student. Then we have the agreement with Montgomery County Educational Service Center for SEL consultant. We actually had approved that back in June, I believe, but it was encompassed in our foundation contract with Montgomery County ESC, and we would like to use, or had earmarked to use, student wellness and success funds to pay that, so we had to ask them to pull that out as its separate contract so that we could pay it with the Success and Wellness Fund. So that's what that one is. Is that it? For some reason I thought there was another one. Nope, I think that's it. Yeah, because Steve already took the senior assistants, yeah. Okay.
Sorry.
No, that's all right.
And, you know, the understanding with Sinclair, we've been, in agreement with them for our students to receive college credit for several years. So that's just a renewal, as well as our subscription to the Ohio School Board Association for membership and publication subscription.
And then Forward Edge is also part of our current appropriations. It's just a formality to have to bring that to you because it's over $25,000.
Okay. We'll go back to the bus drivers. We hired some, or how many are we still relatively short?
We can take as many as we can get. As we get them, they kind of transfer to other jobs and things like that.
But
so
we're not in jeopardy like the school down south.
we are doing
just
much
below
better
us.
than
And I always
most
say that
districts
because we
around.
have a teacher here that likes that football team from up north, but we, I know it got some attention on the news about their bus routes being canceled, but we're not going to be having that problem, correct?
No, Michelle and her staff do a great job of organizing that every day. We're on the phone in the early morning hours and at night to make sure our routes are covered, and kudos to them. We are very blessed to have her as a supervisor.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, may I have a roll call?
Mr. Amsler,
Yes.
Mr. Daffler,
Yes.
Mrs. Neese.
Yes.
Again, we're down to the financial agenda items, and we will read these consecutively and then go back and discuss these individually. A is the approval of transfers, school fees waived. The treasurer CFO recommends the Board of Education approve the following transfers. These transfers are for school fees waived during September through December 2021. All transfers are made in accordance with the Ohio Revised Code 5705.14. B is the authorization for amendment to the Appropriations and Certificate of Estimated Resources. It is recommended by the Treasurer CFO that the appropriations for Certificate of Estimated Resources be amended as listed in the attached reports. C is the bond refinancing resolution. It is recommended by the Treasurer that the Board of Education approve the bond refunding resolution as presented. D is municipal advisor agreement. It is recommended by the Treasurer CFO that the Board of Education approve the agreement with Bradley Payne Advisors as presented. And E is the approval of the financial items A through D. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve financial items A alpha through D delta. May I have a motion for this?
I move for the approval of financial items A through D.
I second it.
First by Mr. Daffler and second by Mrs. Neese. And I will defer to Mr. Espy.
So the approval of transfers, what this is when a student qualifies for free and reduced lunch, they do have fees waived. However, each school still has those fees that they need to recoup in order to provide supplies for those students. So quarterly, what we're going to do is do transfers or seek your approval for transfers from the general fund to the specific fund and special cost center for each of the schools. And so that's what is presented to you in A. In B, this is the monthly just true up of appropriations and estimated resources. Just remembering appropriations are just generalization of all of our budget accounts by fund, and then the certificate of estimated resources is a generalization of all of our revenue accounts by fund. we can never have our appropriations exceed our certificate. C is bond financing resolution, and so what this is similar to how many people have utilized the low interest rates to refinance their homes to save money on interest rates and the interest that they pay over a loan. This bond is tied to the 2016 issue, and just remembering that bonds are specifically for building things or renovating items. It's not for operating the school district at all. And so what I'm bringing tonight is a bond resolution to refinance our 2016 bond. Our bond counsel, which is Bricker and Eckler, as well as Stiefel, who has one of the players in this, have projected that conservatively we could save $2 million of taxpayer money through 2036. So it's not a ton of money per year. It's around $140,000. The first year is prorated at about $95,000 in calendar year 22, just because we're already several months into 2022. But we would be able to save taxpayers that $2 million through 2036. So really, that's the whole reason that I'm bringing this resolution to you tonight. Whenever we go and look at refinancing bonds, the district has to go through a bond rating, just like any other security would have to go through, and that's what Bradley Payne Advisors would do, which is in D. They would help us in terms of getting our Moody's rating. Actually set up a meeting today with Moody's just ahead of hoping that this would get passed, to be able to get the bond rated for the district to then go on the market. And that's all the items.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns?
No, just thanks for working on that bond. That's a lot of money to save.
2 million.
Yeah.
Good, how you slice it. Roll call.
Mr. Daffler,
Yes.
Mrs. Neese,
Yes.
Mr. Amsler.
Yes. Next is the acceptance of donations. It is recommended that the Board of Education accept the following list of donations. All monies will be used through each school's 018 account unless indicated otherwise. Vintage 1950s Myersburg band jacket valued at $65 from James and Earl Dale of Estes & Go LLC. 2 $500 Target gift cards, 2 100 Visa gift cards, and 50 MasterCard gift cards, total of $1,250 from the Miami Valley Professional Firefighters to the Miamisburg City School District's Community Connections Program. $1,500 from Terry Offenberger to the Miamisburg City School District's Community Connections Program. 220 Miamisburg Lowry Games valued at $400 from the Miamisburg Historical Society to the Miamisburg City School District's elementary social studies classes to help teach local history. The following donations were made to the Miamisburg City Schools for the Campus Quest project in memory of Cheryl Tennell. $50 from Judith Frizzell, $25 from Donald and Donna Jones, and $50 from the Miamisburg High School class of 1958. I would like to make a motion for the acceptance of donations.
I move for the acceptance of donations.
I second it.
Corey, or Mr. Daffler, and Mrs. Neese. Any comments? Thank you for all the donations. They're always greatly appreciated, especially in that Community Connections program, especially in this time of year, when things can change in an instant. So, any other comments or concerns? Hearing none, may I have a roll call?
Mr. Daffler,
Yes.
Mrs. Neese,
Yes.
Mr. Amsler.
Yes. is the Miami Valley Career Technology Center news, but Mr. Isaacovich is not here this evening. So Dr. Blessing is going to read his information.
Sure. He wanted to let us know that applications for the 2023 keep arriving school year. Currently, we have 1,110 applications. At this time last year, we had 708 applications and are very pleased with the increase in numbers. Mvctc had 10 students participate in the College Credit Plus program in the first semester and gave our students the opportunity to earn semester hours of college credit. Let's see. Emmeline Burke from Mvctc is a senior. She was recognized for her participation in our robotics and automation program. She plans to attend UD in the engineering program. The construction update, the Multi-Purpose Activity Center, which they're calling the MAC, has experienced the most changes over the last 6 weeks. All the kitchen equipment has been moved in and is being installed. The terrazzo flooring is in place and going through the final polishing phase. The stage area is near completion and touch-up painting continues. Furniture for the MAC is arriving now, and the area will be complete by the end of January. Construction in other parts of the campus continue on schedule. Big news, the Mvctc 50th anniversary will be held on Sunday, February 6th, starting in the new MAC from 2 to 4. All are invited and tours will be given of all completed areas of the campus. More details to follow. That is it for this month.
Thanks, Dr. Blessing. I appreciate it. Next on the agenda is the legislative liaison, Mr. Corey Daffler.
Not too much going on. They just got back in session yesterday. A few notes are the Ohio Department of Education rolled out the first payments to school districts over the educational entities under the new school funding formula that was enacted in June through House Bill 110. And Governor DeWine signed in legislation to modify the third grade reading levels for the 21-22 school year. More to come next month.
Mr. Lewis isn't here tonight, so Ms. Neese did the student achievement with the student of the month. Dale Toadvine is not here this evening as well, and Ms. Neese will do the Montgomery County Drug-Free Coalition report.
Yeah, Mr. Toadvine's ill, and he did attend the meeting today. That's the bad thing about these coalition meetings. They're always on the afternoon of our board meeting. So he attended, and then he wrote up some notes for me, and there just hasn't been a whole lot of time for me to digest that, but I'll do the best I can. There's a grocery contest through the coalition, and you can get on their website. The deadline is the 28th of this month. And there's student presentations in March for the students who win that contest. The Mental Health Committee spoke, and they just talked about how to approach individuals with opiate problems. It's constantly being addressed. This year, in 2021, we had, in Montgomery County, we had 335 accidental overdose deaths. Now, in 2020, we had 323. So it's up by 12, but keep in mind in 2017 we had 560 accidental overdose deaths, and that's they really feel like Narcan has reduced the deaths, of course, and they feel like the reason the deaths are up this year is because of the pandemic. They can't really nail it down as to what the cause is. But this coalition, there's all kinds of mental health groups that continue to help people that are having these addictions to opiates. So then GROW, that's another group that they have made sure 19 individuals have had treatment this year. Nova talked, and they talked about that they now have 6 outreach locations in our area, outpatient and residential, to help recovering addicts. GROW is doing outreach on Friday nights, visiting the homeless camps in our community, and helping the homeless get in touch with the people and organizations that they need for recovery. The Sheriff's Department is helping with sleeping bags and hygiene materials. Let's see. Saturday, this coming Saturday is Drug Take Back Day for both Montgomery and Clark counties. He said they were talking so fast he couldn't get the address. Let's see, another interesting thing was that colleges and universities continue to do DNA research attempting to link various addictions to heredity. Conversations for Change, that's another group that attends. The meetings are held on Thursday evenings at Target of Dayton. That's like a ministry that serves meals to the homeless. I think they do 500 on Saturday nights. I know I've done it before, help serve. The goal is to invite people to seek help and direct them to where they can get help. And then Sheriff Strack talked about opiate abuse and opiate bust. They're at an all-time high in Montgomery County. The pounds of seized drugs have tripled in the last couple of years. The media attention has been focused on COVID and taken the focus off drugs. So that's it. Sorry, I didn't have much time to really
Nope.
go through
it's good.
that. Okay.
It's good. District news and information, I really don't, there was nothing there except for I did want to point out, I know we get a thing from Mr. Black each Friday about, things that are happening at the high school, and it's always interesting, as Mrs. Keller did tonight, and as previous schools have done. I think it's interesting how each school in their own way does whatever they feel is unique to them and their PBIS, and it's just interesting to see what things that each school does. So I can tell you that was the most lively presentation that we've had, so congratulations with that. And, and I know you're reaping the benefits of Mrs. Huber, but it's a collaboration of both of you that have continued to do that. So congratulations to Mrs. Anix and the both of you. So so it is fun and it is interesting. So we get to see what happens in the schools. So thank you very much for doing that. It's that time of the night. We will go around the room, and then we will finish up with our comments here in just a second. So, Mr. Daffler, you are first.
I don't have much. Nothing here. Thanks for all the hard work that teachers and everybody put in working through the COVID and all the craziness that goes on. So hopefully we'll be past all this soon.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, Mrs. Andrax, I just happened to be walking into Mound School. There's like a display case. This was like a month ago. I'm walking in, I think I brought something to you, Mrs. Keller. I can't remember why I was there. And she's sitting in the display case, which is only about this wide anyway. And she's dressed as an elf. And I can't tell you the looks on the kids' faces. It was amazing. So yeah, Mrs. Andrix, she's something else, I'll tell you. Yeah. Yeah, she's great. I just wanted to thank everyone for staying the course. We all value education so much, but I know it's been hard. Dr. Blessing and everybody here for staying the course, all the administrators, all the staff, all the students, all the parents. And, parents, we don't want to have to close school. but we might have to because of staff shortages, but we are going to try our best to keep students in school because we value education so much and we want to keep with it. So thank you so much. I want to thank Dr. Blessing for writing the grant for the Chromebooks. I mean, that grant was worth $498,000. So that's a huge chunk of extra money for our district. That's it. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Those of you know that I can talk for a while, but with being in the position that I'm in, the one thing that I can tell you is I'm not for long meetings. I like to keep things moving quickly. It's our job as board members to go over the information as much as possible. Had a meeting today and was thinking a couple of things come to mind. Number one, Katie, I know I sent you an email last night. I know that we have been in some meetings with the nurses and you've talked to the athletic staff. And I know I did it through an email, but I think it needs to be done out public as well, that I wanted to appreciate the multitude of changes that you just did for our chart and our flow chart of what to do and what not to do. So thank you very much. And as far as the principals go, your time is valuable. I know that you have spent many hours before and after school doing different things. It's a conversation that I would probably, and I'm going to say this out loud, probably should have it behind doors, but because your time is valuable and because you guys have put in multitude of hours, I don't think that it's a requirement as much sometimes for you guys to be here to sit when you guys can be sitting with your family and doing other things that may need to be done for your school or whatever. So I think it's a conversation that we need to have as a board and as administration, but I can tell you that sitting here for an hour or an hour and a half or whatever, I think your time should be more valuable at home with either with your family or getting things ready for the next day, because it has all been a trying time, as well as those individuals that sit and at that table as well. And the more time that we can spend with our families or with just decompressing, I think that shall serve us better in the long run. So that's my pledge to you moving forward, and we'll see what we can do about that. With that, I will move it on to Mr. Espy.
I just want to kind of echo what's been said about the difficult times we've been going through. The treasurer's office has not been able to escape that either. We've had illness, and I just want to give a huge shout out to the team in the treasurer's office, because we've been able to piece things together, especially the first payroll in January is always the most difficult. We have deduction changes and people coming in and out of healthcare and dental and vision and all that stuff. And so it's been, it was definitely trying during that time, but it was, it's great when you have an awesome team that is concerned about getting the job done and doing it the right way. So I do want to recognize them. I also want to say that it's been great to get out in buildings more. I've been to a couple of the buildings. Got to go out to the middle school yesterday with Dr. Blessing, and that was fun. I got brushed up on domains and ranges in 8th grade math, so that was good. I haven't worked on that in a while, so the Google machine was used a lot yesterday during that time. But it is great to get out. I'm going to be heading to Medlerview here shortly, I guess in a week. So it'll be nice to get out and start seeing more people in the district. So I just can't say enough about the team here. Everyone is pitching in and doing what they need to do to get the job done. So just want to say thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Espy. Thank you to Mrs. Keller and Mr. Klaver for their presentations this evening. Very exciting, great stuff going on. Also, shout out to Katie. We've done a lot with COVID, and she is definitely our resident COVID expert, so kudos to her. Also, kudos to all of our building administrators. Well said, Mr. Amsler. I concur. I vote yes to his proposal for sure. Also, all of our staffs, I just want to let the public know that right now it is a daily struggle to keep our buildings open. And that is, as Mrs. Neese kind of reported and kind of emphasized, we want to be here for our students. We know there is a lot of illness in our community right now, but we are able to patch together resources. We've got supervisors in the audience. We have central office folks that have all been in buildings, helping out and subbing in various ways. Also, I know John mentioned his treasurer staff. The central office staff has filled in as secretaries over the last few weeks, even as nurses if needed. We've even had some of our central office staff be our courier because we've had those positions out. So everyone is pitching in to make sure that we can open our doors every day, as well as long as the staff remains as healthy and as put together. Some of you know we did have to close the preschool for a few days this week. Tomorrow, Kinder Elementary will be closed for the day. We have a classroom on remote learning. So we're really just focusing on areas where our resources have kind of been tapped to the max, and focus on getting those classes and buildings kind of well, and we're going to continue to do that every day. Every evening, Mr. Homan and I look at our resources in terms of available staff before we turn in for the evening, and that's the first thing we do when we wake up. These great administrators let us know where we can help, what they need help in, and we so appreciate that. And we will just continue to do that, and we're hoping that the health officials are right, that we will see the trend starting to go down in terms of cases and illness. And we know it's winter, which is normal anyway. So we just want to thank everyone and hope you understand where we're going in terms of our COVID protocols at the moment. So thank you.
And just going on what Dr. Bossing said, we are always looking for subs. So please reach out to us, email us, call us, and we will get you hooked up. We've gotten several new subs in each week, but as soon as they're working right away, as soon as we get them in. So if you know family, friends out there that would like to do that, please let us know, and we will work with them.
Thanks, everyone. So I will follow up. You'll get an email in regards to my comment. No, nobody on the board knew that I was going to say that. It's just something that I've thought about today, and I just think that our resources, and including the ladies that sit here, more times than not, we need to be, you go to basketball games and football games and everything else because of the high school and everything else, and I just think it's more utilized and better a benefit for you all to be doing things that you need to do because of the time and effort that you do spend at school. So more to follow on that, but I won't say Merry Christmas because that's already, but Happy New Year. Next on the agenda is public comments. Well, I have one green sheet. Each person addressing the board shall give his name and address. Each person allotted 3 minutes. We only have one green sheet tonight. We're allotted 30 minutes, but we only have one green sheet. So 3 minutes will be allotted. And then we'll give you a 30-second warning, so speakers, when that 3 minutes is up. During the public participation, each member of the public shall direct the comments to the board as a whole. Consistent with our policy, this is not the time to question the individual board member or district employees. But as a reminder, our expectation tonight is that everyone conducts themselves civilly and respectfully and will not tolerate profanity, frivolous, repetitive, or harassment statements. So, Mr. Taylor, I know that you've heard this all before, but you have your 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Ambler. I recently had the chance to review the trial results for the Pfizer adolescent studies. It was done last November. It consisted of 1,005 people in the control group and 978 people in the non-control group. And in the non-control group, they had 18 individuals test for COVID. In the non-control group, there were none. Pfizer declared victory. Obviously, their vaccine works very well. But one thing about it is this study was very underpowered with such a small group and such a short amount of time. But sadly, there was one individual in the study that had serious reactions to it. Her name was Maddie DeGarry, and many would say it wouldn't even show up. Some of the problems she had, by the way, she's a 12-year-old trial participant who developed a serious reaction after her second dose, and she was hospitalized. Maddie developed gastroparesis, nausea, vomiting, erratic blood pressure, memory loss, brain fog, headaches, dizziness, fainting, seizures, verbal and motor tics, menstrual cycle issues, lost feeling from the waist down, lost bowel and bladder control, and had a nasogarlic tube placed because she was not able to eat. She had been hospitalized many times, and for the past 10 months, she has been wheelchair bound and fed by breathing a food tooth. Now, what did Pfizer say about this in the report? They said she had functional abdominal pain. I watched the interview with the mom. She talked about how Maddie is a tough kid, but she said it hurt. She felt really bad, so she wanted to sleep with her mom and dad that night after she got the second dose. She made it to school, but when she got home, she didn't make it through the threshold. They called Pfizer, but they got a recording, a little app to push buttons. They went to Cincinnati Children's, and after the third time, they were told they weren't welcome there. Some of their social media accounts have been censored. And the big question I have is, why did Pfizer not include this in their test results? I'd call it negligence. Maybe a better word is fraud.
30 seconds.
The FDA approved this as well, so they're negligent as well. My big question, you're having a COVID clinic where you're offering it, and you say you're doing it without saying you support it or not. But the thing is, though, that if Pfizer potentially committed fraud and they were negligent, the FDA who's negligent might want to argue that the Miamisburg School District is being negligent too to even offer this. Because if there's no benefit, kids are 0% chance of dying of this. Why put them at risk? And those are my comments, and I have handouts for y'all. I really appreciate your time and the work of this board. These are difficult times indeed. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Taylor. That would be the end of tonight's meeting, and next on the agenda is adjournment. May I have a motion, please?
I motion to adjourn.
Motion by Mr. Daffler.
I second it.
Mrs. Neese seconds it. So may I have a roll call?
Mr. Daffler,
Yes.
Mrs. Neese,
Yes.
Thanks.
and Mr. Amsler.
Yes. Thank you.